up, bud?
Hey, how's it going, Duke?
Oh, okay. Busy. Get stuff ready to go here. I'm heading out tomorrow to be out researching for 4 days.
Okay, cool. I'm heading out again in a couple of days. I'm actually heading up to a Bigfoot sighting that just took place yesterday afternoon.
How far away?
I just punched it in the GPS and it says it's 36 miles from where I live. Yeah, it's near Logan, Utah. That's north of where I live. I just got the sighting a couple of hours ago and called the guy and got all the details and everything. So I'm gonna go up there and poke around and see what I can find.
Nice.
So where are you headed on your Bigfoot expedition?
We're just doing a local trip here up to the ghost town of Coloma. It's about 45-minute drive from here.
Dirt road, round
looking forward to it. We were just up there. Well, we got enough people actually doing things now that we could split the team. So we had Ashton and Austin, and Ashton's the one that went to the Nebraska conference with me and was part of the Inevitably Finding Bigfoot team. He was the guy running the drones. And which, by the way, that's coming out now too. I got the first part of it done. He went out with his buddy Austin, who used to be part of our team but hasn't been able to make it for the last year and a half. And they went for just a little drive through this one area that neither one of them had been through before. And right away, Ashton spotted a structure from the road. Hold on, stop! There's something over there. He goes running over there. Apparently he was there for a while because then he finally hears Austin going, hello? Hello? It's like, come over here. I found a track. So yeah, it took them a total of 12 minutes. They filmed like 3 or 4 really big structures and a couple tracks, and then bada bing, bada boom, done. And me and my new roommate, who's a native, pure-blooded American native, he had seen Bigfoot before, but he had never done any Bigfoot research or anything. So I took him up to one of my hot spots, and we found, like 8 or 9 tracks. One was really cool because it was a big one. He was going uphill on all fours, so you could just see the ball of his feet where he was digging into the hillside. And then one spot where he put his fist down and mashed a big divot in the ground, made probably the best fist print I've ever seen. Sadly, we didn't have any casting material with us.
We saw a real good fist and hand print, and you could see where its bump print was and everything. So it looked like he'd either sat down or stood up with one open hand, one fist. We got that in the south side of the Olympic Mountain of Washington. So I've seen that before. That's really cool how they'll do that. One palm, one fist. That was in that ghost town also, or near that area?
Yeah, right outside of it. It's the new area we found adjacent to it that's more activity, so we're going to be going camping there. But this wasn't just like an indentation. This is a crater. You could see all the fingers. You could see the thumb. You could see the whole thing perfectly. It was 8 by 8 inches, and when I put my fist in it, my hand was in the ground up to my wrist, which is how deep it was.
Is that the same area you guys got the one on videotape wood knocking?
No, that's like 80 miles away from there.
Okay.
Completely different mountain range.
I see.
No, this is an area that, actually, if you want to see some backstory on this, Paranormal Portal channel did 2 live streams from up there 2 different years in a row. They were up there with my team, and they were ghost hunting.
Right.
And while they were up there running their ghost box in the middle of Main Street, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, bright sunny day, and there's things showing up on the ghost box. These weird stuff was starting to happen, and Brent took his camera and kind of went, well, as long as he's busy with that, I'll just pan around to the camera and get some video to show everybody. Yeah, as he's panning past this one ridge line, something big ducks down. He didn't even notice it. I saw that on the video afterwards. And I went, well, I'm really close to it, and you're 4 or 5 hour drive away, so I'll just go one of my friends up there and do a comparison shot. So I know right where you were standing. So I got Chris to go up there with me. Chris is 6 feet tall in average build, and I knew right where Brent was standing, so I was within 2 or 3 feet of where he was standing. And I got Chris up there to stand in the same spot that unknown object had been. And it turns out unknown object is between 8 and 9 feet tall and 3 times as wide as a human. So Fairly confident it was a Bigfoot.
So you guys are doing 4 days in the ghost town area?
Yeah, it's going to be me and Ashton. I'm not sure if Johnny, the new guy, can make it or not because his brakes on his vehicle went out. He's supposed to get them fixed tomorrow. They do it fast enough, he'll be up there for part of the day and then come back and just got to work the following day, but we'll just be staying up there for the weekend. And in addition, all the crits, tracks, and everything we found. You know, like I said, I'm getting all this stuff put together, put out a little video on it. So I'm uploading all the stuff he's got. Going through uploading pictures. I go to upload this one picture and like I literally looked at this picture for 1 second and I went, there's a Bigfoot right there. So I took it and I cropped it and, you know, zoomed in a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. And sure enough, there's a huge Bigfoot standing right there photobombing him. And so when he came in from work, I'm like, hey, check this out. You see this picture that you took? Yeah. Okay, now look at this part of it. And then I showed him the crop. It took him about, same thing as me, about 1 second. And he went, whoa, there's a big one right there. And yeah, congratulations on your very first outing, you Bigfooting ever. You managed to get one on video. Good job, man.
I'm kind of excited. A Bigfoot sighting just last night. The witness got a hold of me and told me I need to talk to you for about 10-15 minutes, and I was just like, I take Bigfoot sightings in writing. He's like, this happened just last night, and he told me, and it's local, and so I'm like, what's your phone number?
I'll be over there soon.
Yeah.
Warming up the teleporter now. Mr. Scott, prepare to energize.
Yeah, he come home from work last night and was sitting on his back porch unwinding, and he saw something making its way along the ridge line and coming down the ridge, and he always has a pair of binoculars right there because, you know, and he picks them up thinking, oh, it's a deer or an elk or whatever, and he's like, it was walking on 2 legs, big and brown. I cannot explain it away as anything other than a Bigfoot, and I watched it for about 15-20 seconds before it disappeared. I'm just like,
oh, you got a pretty good look at it. 15 or 20 seconds, a long time to be watching one of those guys.
Well, and it's behind his property. He's used to checking out deer and elk all the time back there, so he knows what it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, that helps for scale too, because you know the depth of the height and everything in an area that you're looking at over and over again. You can tell how big an object is when it's walking through it.
Yep. So I buttoned everything up within a couple of hours of hearing about that, and I'm heading up there to take a look around, see if I can get lucky and find something or lightning strike twice. I won't be looking through binoculars. I'll be looking through a freaking powerful camera. When I first started Bigfooting, we would sit and glass ridges and tree lines and stuff from across draws or whatever with binoculars. We all did it. And then if you saw something interesting, you'd switch over to the camera, and a lot of times if it was a deer or elk, whatever it was gone, or you have a hard time redirecting on it again. So I'm just like, you know what, I'm not using binoculars ever again. If I'm glassing places of interest, I'm ready to record, if not already recording. That's why a lot of the videos you see me glassing stuff, because I get a lot of that footage because I'm constantly looking, like a hunter will look for deer, elk, moose, or whatever when they're glassing with their binoculars.
I kind of do the same thing with my little handy cam that's got the strap on it that holds it on my hand, and the pop outside window on it that you look at and everything. I'll be walking around to that with the lens cap open, side window open, camera on. It's just paused. So if I see anything, all I have to do is raise it up and click one button and it's going.
Yeah, you got it on quick draw.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the camera's already going. All I got to do is just click the button. It's not on pause. It's filming. There. That has worked actually really well a few times so far.
Most of my cameras are the same brand, but different models. Most of them are Canons. I do own a Nikon. I stick with the same types of cameras, so I don't have to learn a new system. Generally, they're all pretty close to the same. Turning them on, your zoom ins, your zoom outs, your filming button, your picture button. You know, I don't want to learn a new system because I just know Murphy's Law. I'm learning a new system. Something's going to be there, and I'm going to miss it.
Exactly. Just like if you don't have a camera in the front of your vehicle, you're going to be coming around the corner, and there will be a Bigfoot playing around in the berry bush, and you won't get it.
I got it with my dash camera. You
That's
saw
right.
that one.
That's why you did it, because you didn't go, nah, this will never happen. You went, yes, this is going to happen, and I don't have the damn camera there before it happens.
In the beginning, when I couldn't afford all the equipment I wanted, you know, you had this want list and priorities, and it made me sick that I didn't have a dash cam, because over half the reports you read out there, the people see it from the seat of their vehicle, and as a matter of fact, the 2 sightings I have has been from the front seat. One time a passenger, one side a driver. So it made me sick until I got one, and now I feel a little bit better. But even though I have one, and a dash cam was going both my sightings, the first one, it was too far off the side of the road across a creek. So it was out of the frame of the camera. It was off to the side. And my other one was in the rear view mirror standing behind us, and my dash cam isn't faced that way, so.
Shit.
Uh-huh.
God damn it. I swear they know where the damn cameras are. They're like, oh, they don't have a camera on this side. We'll come over here.
I mean, they're so good at knowing what direction everybody's looking when they make their appearance, and it's always from the side or the behind.
Yeah, and they usually have more than one of them there, so that they can misdirect you, and one can make a noise, and you can look in that direction while the other one's moving around, so you don't see them.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool how people will capture them off to the sides or behind them. Like your buddy that was Bigfooting with you that got the one wood knocking. You guys were all walking away, and so was he, and for whatever reason, he decided to pan that direction, and that thing knocked and then looked at him. So he was probably expecting everybody to be off that way, and your buddy to not have him in his vision. Probably tripped him out when he saw both your buddy's eyes and his cameras pointed in his direction. Well, he didn't stay there long looking at your buddy.
I knew that was bad. Yep.
What was his name?
Yeah, that's what blew me away, is that he actually did the wood knock and then looked back to see if he was still being observed. It's like, what are you thinking?
Was that Eric? The guy's name?
Yeah,
Eric?
that was Eric. Eric Johnson.
Cool.
Yeah, sadly, apparently he isn't going to be able to come up and do any more Bigfooting with it. Now, if we're doing no more Bigfooting up there, we'll ruin your business, kind of.
Oh, it's going to affect his livelihood.
Yeah, I'm just guessing. He wouldn't tell me exactly.
I posted a video where the guy got fired over his Bigfoot sighting.
Yeah, and how do they justify that? Well, you saw something that is not supposed to exist, therefore you're fired. What?
The Bigfoot slammed into the side of his vehicle, which was a service vehicle. And,
you're talking about the ranger guy.
Yeah, busted the window and dented the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see how the supervisor felt justified getting rid of him. But I was like, you know, if the guy was going to make something up that damaged a
you would have made up something believable, not a Bigfoot attacked me and wrecked the vehicle?
More feasible instead of telling them the truth, you know?
Like I was driving along and a piece of deadfall fell down, rolled down the embankment and hit the truck. Gee, sorry. Yep.
Do you guys have a game plan for your expedition that you're getting ready to go on?
Well, yeah, we just found this new spot adjacent to the spot we usually go to. It seems to be better, so we're going to be reconning the hell out of that. And it's been partially logged at some point, so there's a whole lot of little access roads for logging trucks and stuff down there. It's a big labyrinth, so you're going to be driving all around that, road Bigfooting first and see where we can spot the road, and then when you have a lay of the land, we'll have a much better idea of where they're hanging out, where's the good places to go look for them and stuff. A lot of their main travel roads through the area, so we know, you know, when they're going up the hill or coming down the hill, here's one of the places we travel through a lot. But other than that, like when they're down the hill, where are they? We haven't figured that out yet.
I end up on a lot of logging roads on Bigfoot expeditions. They can get you into some pretty remote, crazy places.
Now we had, when we found where we're going to be camping at, there's a fence on one side of it. The farmer must have cattle up there or something during the summer. So I went over the fence and checked that area, and when I got over there, first thing I found is a juvie track about 10 inches long and about 2 inches deep in the ground, and I wasn't leaving any impression in the ground. And I got a bigger foot than that.
Oh, yeah.
And then I found
solid muscle.
Found a pile of scat. It was obviously not from the known local indigenous wildlife, because it looked like human-type stuff, except about as thick around as a soup can. And then I found what looked like one of them had been laying there sleeping overnight, because it was squished down grass, about 9-foot area. So then back the opposite direction, we walked around and found a whole bunch of other tracks.
You need to go, just let me know and we'll end this. I realize you're busy. I just called you out of the blue. I'm like, I'm heading up to a recent Bigfoot sighting. I'm going to call and tell Duke.
We can find out what we're doing over here, which is the same thing. Recent Bigfoot sighting, planning on being up there again. We just got a picture of one last week. So.
Oh, it was just a week ago. Right on.
Yeah, even less than. Yeah. It was Thursday last week. So, yep. And the funny thing was is I may have gotten a variant of mind speak while I was there.
Okay.
Mind stank. Because when they send you mind speak, it doesn't necessarily have to be words. It could be images. It could be a feeling. Or they could even send you a mind speak of a smell. So me and Johnny are walking through the woods, going past the area where their old structures are from 100 years ago, heading up toward where the standing stones are. And all of a sudden I catch this intense waft of the smell of bacon. And I'm immediately alarmed because, like, hey, I was just cooking bacon a few hours ago, and if I spilled bacon grease on myself or something, and I smell like bacon, the last place I want to be walking around is in the frickin' woods where there's grizzlies and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So I stop, and I'm like, did you smell that? And he goes, no, what? And I'm sniffing both my hands, and I'm smelling my shirt. Now I can't smell anything. I said, it smelled like bacon. And he goes, no, I didn't smell anything. Yeah, about 5 minutes later is when we got the picture of that big one standing there watching us. Then we were then proceeding directly to the gifting area to leave them bacon.
Yeah.
And Robin had already told them we were coming up to leave them bacon. They knew we were there. They were following us around, waiting for the bacon. Where's the bacon? So, like, did one of them just send me a message, hey, hurry up with the damn bacon, we're waiting. That was just one of the weirdest things ever. Yeah, when you're in the woods, you don't expect this intense bacon smell. I mean, it was like I was right over a frying pan with like 2 pounds of bacon cooking in it. That intense of a smell. And it was just for a couple seconds, and it just was gone again. I'm like, what the hell was that? No bacon smell out here in the woods. Very strange.
Yeah, we just got back from Sasquatch Canyon. I think I let you know we were going there last week. The part of the canyon that we like because it has all the activity had a creek that turned into a river that was deep as hell that cut us off. I didn't want to cross that in a vehicle unless it was an emergency. So we explored the south side of the canyon, which we've never had access to till for the last 4 or 5 years, and they finally opened up access. So one of the first people in there. Then later on, a couple of days later, because we're only 20 miles from Skinwalker Ranch, we went and did a couple of laps around Skinwalker Ranch. And off of the ranch, on Indian Res, we saw the weirdest looking wolverine. Brown wolverine. I've never seen a brown wolverine. They've always had like the two-tone color with the rusty stripes on their sides. I've never seen anything like that. And between Jenny and I, the 5-10 seconds that we saw it, because we saw it from the car, we rolled down the windows, worked its way behind a boulder and never appeared again. And both of us couldn't get the cameras on it in time before it disappeared. But not saying it's a skinwalker, it's just across the street from Skinwalker Ranch, and it's the weirdest wolverine I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a brown wolverine. Just weird.
Well, I couldn't speak to what their variations are like because they're so damn rare now. If you even see one ever, it's amazing. Yeah, when I was a kid in the 1970s, I saw one in northern Minnesota, and then I got to see fisher cat in the early 2000s in southern Minnesota. Mm-hmm. That's the only 2 times I've ever seen either of those critters.
Yeah, the last time I saw a wolverine, which is the first of 2 times, we saw it from about less than 20 feet away, across the road in front of us in the Uenas. Jenny and I both observed it, and we couldn't get a camera on it the 10-15 seconds. I grabbed the camera and was fumbling to get it on. Then it was out of my frame to the passenger side, and I chucked the camera to Jenny. It disappeared, and we're both laughing at each other. Not laughing because it was funny. We were laughing because it was like disheartening that this badger, I mean not badger, but this wolverine acts like he owns the place. He took his time crossing in front of us, gave us plenty of time to get a camera on him, couldn't do it, and we're like, all right, so we're like the worst Bigfooters ever when it comes to a camera.
Oh, you might be good Bigfooters, you're just worthless at filming wolverines is the bottom line of that.
Oh, that's one of the reasons why I did get a dash camera, because it walked in front of our car. If I did not apply the brakes and stop, I could have ran him over.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, wolverines are incredibly fearless. They think they own everything that they can see, and if you don't agree with them, they'll rip your guts out.
Oh yeah, you can tell they have that disposition. But that was in 2012, so that's 11 years ago, and this is the second one I've ever seen. It was probably less than a quarter of a mile from Skinwalker Ranch on a pretty cool piece of property with a lot of vegetation and a lot of boulders. Yeah, whatever. I'm not saying it's a skinwalker, but it was the weird. I need to go through images of these things and see if I can find an image that's close to the same color as it. And he was huge. And when I first spotted him, I thought it was like a 200-pound black bear.
Oh, God. No, it's a 60-pound devil bear. Way scarier.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, they'll take on anything.
Yeah, so, yeah. They have good examples of that. You know, honey badger don't give a bleep. It's kind of a joke, because the honey badger is the peon African version of a wolverine. And as much as they try and play up how badass honey badger is, it ain't shit compared to a wolverine.
I watched a video of a wolverine taking down a cow moose. I mean,
oh yeah.
They were in deep...
No problem.
They were in deep snow, and that moose was having a difficult time moving through the deep snow. That wolverine had no problem moving through the snow and come up and grabbed it by the nose and held it down till it could incapacitate it. I didn't think it was possible. A moose.
Yeah, well, something else they didn't think was possible, and that is that the largest land predator on Earth right now is a polar bear. And guess what? There's a witness that saw a wolverine kill a polar bear.
Yeah,
a big full-size one.
Jeez. Yeah, I guess anything's possible. Yeah, you're right. They're devil bears.
Yeah. All the natives are scared shitless of those things. As bad as, like, oh, grizzly, big medicine, they're tough. Wolverine, leave the state.
Well, this wolverine I saw was much bigger than the first one I saw. And the first one was probably like a 30, 40 pounder, if I had to guess how much it weighed. I mean, it was big enough and intimidating looking to me. I'm glad I wasn't outside of the car with it.
One of my favorite wolverine videos ever, they got accidentally. They were filming wolf behavior. I think it was up in Canada. Mm-hmm. The wolves had taken down a caribou or something, and they were eating on it. And then a grizzly spotted them, came up, got into a fight with them for hours, trying to chase him off the kill so he could have it. And they kept fighting with him, but he was too big and mean and obstinate. And finally, they just kind of gave ground and left. Hung out a ways away to see if he was going to eat all of it before he left, and they could come back and get some. Well, he's kind of sitting in this wide open area. There's no trees or anything. And it's in a bowl, more or less. A couple hundred yards away is where the next ridge line is. And it's not very high. It's like maybe 10 feet higher than where the bear is sitting. All of a sudden, over the ridge line comes a wolverine. And the bear, looks up. Wolverine sees the bear, charges at him. No hesitation. Full speed. The bear's watching him coming, and he's starting to lean back, and he's starting to stand up. And right when the Wolverine almost is there, the bear gets up and runs away. And the Wolverine chased him, according to the film crew, almost 2 miles before he turned around and came back to the kill. Then when he got back to the kill, guess what? The wolves were there. So he chased all them off the kill too. The Wolverine got the kill.
Yeah, the GPS tracking data from collared wolverines is just amazing. Wolverines don't, when they're traveling from point A to point B, they go a direct route, and they don't care how high they have to climb and what they got to climb over to get from point A to point B. They're not like most animals that stay in the draws and the valleys. They just go right up over it. They say it only takes them about 90 minutes to go from one valley in Montana over the mountain and to another valley. They can do that in 90 minutes. They have so much stamina.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been examples of them chasing herds of animals and people observing them doing it, and it's like they can't run as fast as the herd animals, but they don't get tired. So they chase the whole herd stops and rests, now the Wolverine's caught up, the whole herd has to run again, then they get to stop and rest, now the Wolverine's caught up. Well, after, a day or so of this, the ones in the back that aren't all that strong are running out of steam, even though they're getting breaks in between, the Wolverine isn't. And finally, he'll just get one of them. And it don't matter to them. They can run 2 or 3 days nonstop.
That was the highlight of my expedition. A brown, giant Wolverine, weird color for Wolverines over by Skinwalker Ranch. That's probably the most unique thing that's happened to us at Skinwalker Ranch area.
Well, they see all kinds of weird, out-of-place stuff over there, so, you can run into, like, anything, theoretically, at least, at the Skinwalker Ranch.
Right. Yeah, we're just there for the bigfooting, but since it's in the area, we'll sometimes take a break from bigfooting and go take a look around the ranch, just see if we can see any of the weird stuff everybody reports going on. Our base camp, 20 miles from Skinwalker Ranch at the mouth of Sasquatch Canyon, I've seen weirder stuff there than I've seen at the Skinwalker Ranch. About 10 years ago, saw this gigantic fireball, bigger than like an SUV, come up over the mountain ridge and then sink back down. And then last October at night, this was at dusk when I saw the big fireball come up and go down. A couple of Octobers ago, Jenny yelled at me. She was out in a clearing, and I was over by the campfire, and she says, "Kelly, you gotta come see this." I come jogging over there, man, and at first I thought it was some type of a giant helicopter, silent helicopter coming towards us. There was the 4 orbs of light in formation that stayed in a formation. Then pretty soon I'm like, oh, that's a craft. It's bigger than any aircraft ever to exist. I mean, just gigantic. And it was moving around above the mountain ridge behind our camp in formation. So I just thought it was one object. And I kept on like, I gotta go get a camera. And Jenny's like, you gotta go get a camera. And I'm like, I know. But I couldn't turn away from this because I had to go back past the campfire, get in my vehicle, find my night vision camera, and come back with it. So I just observed it. One corner of this thing, the bottom right hand, it was in a square formation. A spotlight, the strongest spotlight I've ever seen, would turn on, and the spotlight was like glassing the mountain around it and across from it and stuff, and it would turn back on. After the second time of it doing that, it actually looked down below it and scanned that. And then after it turned out, all of these orbs broke formation. They independently landed one at a time on that mountaintop. Then once that happened, I told Jenny, I'm like, keep your eye on it. I ran to the vehicle, grabbed a tripod, grabbed my night vision camera, and set it up and directed it right where they had landed and turned it on. And then I went and grabbed other cameras. I got every tripod with day vision cameras, whatever, in case something happened. And we sat there for 3 hours, never saw them again, didn't take back off. And it didn't sink in how creepy it was till we went to bed that night. I was like, something I'd never seen before in my life just landed less than a mile from where we're camping, and they didn't leave. That made it really hard to go to sleep. Something unexplained like that. That's the kind of stuff that they report in the Uinta Basin, not just Skinwalker Ranch. Skinwalker Ranch is like the center of it all. It happens more there than anywhere else. That's what I saw at Sasquatch Canyon last October. Jenny and I both, we probably observed it for about a minute and a half.
Eric's into the UFO thing, and when he was on his way up here last year, which resulted in him filming that video that he did the breakdown on, he was in the Uinta Valley, and he got video with his night vision of a triangle-shaped craft about the size of a battleship flying over the valley.
Okay, I've never been up this canyon. I don't know where it's at. So
cool, all new. All new experiences. So like most of those other road systems. Siri, where do I need to go now? I don't know. I'm in England. Shut up, Siri.
My last Garmin that I had, I was able to program in different voices, and I wanted something that sounded like C-3PO. And the closest thing that they had was a British woman voice. And oh my gosh, you should hear the stuff that Jenny would call that when it would get us lost. They're a useful tool, man, but they're brainless. They will get you lost. They will take you to places that don't exist. So you got to be really careful when you use them. You need a good map.
I was explaining that to my two wheelmen when we were over in Minnesota. I'm like, quit relying on this stupid thing. Well, it gives us a route every time. Yeah, it gives you a route through where the highest traffic areas are. It'll take forever to get there. Hey, route. A little bit longer, and it's going to be there in a third of the time because no traffic.
Yeah, I sat and studied a map before I even left. I always do that on a Bigfoot expedition. That couple in Jarbidge, Nevada, that's a Bigfoot hot spot. That Jarbidge, they also call it Tasaha Bits, which means cannibal giants, and Jarbidge means monster that lurks in the canyon. A couple that were coming home from Las Vegas, because this is on the north side of Nevada on the Idaho border. They were driving home from Vegas, relying on their GPS to go to Canada, and it took them into Jarbidge in the wintertime.
Oh, God.
And they got stuck for a couple of months.
Oh, God.
Before someone found them. Well, they found the woman. Her husband tried to hike out and get help. They later found him after they rescued her. It was only a mile. He couldn't see the help. It was just up over the next hill. There, someone lived there, and he would have had help. But he crawled up under a pine tree, probably either for shelter, warmth, or when you're hypothermic, you just make bad decisions. But that's where they found him. He tried to hike out. She stayed there at their minivan, stuck in snow, ice, and mud. She just rationed out what they had in their cooler for their trip and was able to make it. So, yeah, that's pretty sad. But that's because they relied on their GPS. It took them a bit way and got them stuck. Pretty famous survival story, so hopefully she's got some compensation for all of her hardships. I mean, that's one of the longest survival stories. It was a couple of months that she was stuck out there surviving in the minivan, and he did for quite some time before he went to get help too. He was a mile from help.
Yeah, and let that be a lesson to you. Just keep walking till you die. Forget about taking a break.
Yeah, at least in this day and age of cell phones, they allow the 911 thing. If you even get a hint of reception, you get in trouble and don't have reception, climb up a mountain ridge.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much includes every single area that we do Bigfoot research out here. There is no such thing as cell phone signal. The area we've got the most cell phone signal, if you climb to the very top of the mountain, you can get half a bar.
Sasquatch Canyon is remote, and it's a narrow canyon with high walls. So you never get cell phone reception in there. And then at base camp, I only get 1 or 2 bars. Jenny's didn't have any cell phone service this last time we were there. I'm the only one that had any, and that's at base camp. We go in the canyon and it's gone. However, I have talked to ranchers that some free range in some of the slot canyons in there. They say that they get reception on certain mountainsides and stuff. So
yeah, they probably know where to go.
Yeah.
Well, same thing with us. We go up to the ghost town of Coloma is literally on top of a mountain. And there's only certain places there in that ghost town where you can get any reception at all, and it's still only half a bar. You can look off the top of the mountain and you can see mountain ranges 30 miles away. You should be able to get a signal. No, nothing. And it's totally, it's random too. Like if there's cloud cover, you can get a bar, maybe a bar and a half. But if it's clear, forget it, nothing.
It would be nice to have a satellite phone for emergencies, but those cost too much money right now. I'm hoping with this Starlink system that everybody will be able to get service everywhere one day with all those zillions of satellites.
I know. There's actually know a couple people that have Starlink already, and they freaking love it.
I would really.
Yeah, you can go to the most middle of nowhere place that you can get to, and you can still do a live stream from it. Hell yeah.
Just recently to my want list for Bigfooting, and of course it's something I can use in my personal life too. It would be so nice to be out in the middle of nowhere and have access to all your office needs, your computer, be able to do all that while you're out in the field. And most importantly is emergency phone calls. I mean, Jenny and I have been broken down or gotten stuck in some of the most shittiest remote places. And of course, we have gotten ourselves unstuck every time without any help. When your alternator goes out, you're SOL. You need a tow job out of there, or you need to bring an alternator in, or you're not getting out. We had to get towed out. We were in Willow Flats in an area with a ton of Bigfoot sightings surrounding that, but that's where we were base camped at. Jenny's alternator went out. Some gal come along and offered to drive Jenny somewhere to make a call. We had no cell phone service there, so I stayed there at camp while she drove Jenny out, and Jenny said that she had to call 3 towing companies before she found a tow truck driver that knew where we were at and how to find us, because he was a snowmobiling enthusiast and he snowmobiles the area in the wintertime. So yeah, that was an expensive tow job right there, man.
Oh, I bet.
But it was worth
better than the alternative, but still all.
Yeah, I guess we could have pushed the car.
Still be out there. You'd be like, well, hon, we got it as far as we could before winter set in. We'll push it the rest of the way in spring.
That's definitely on my list. Maybe in a few years we can have something like that.
He just came out of hibernation a few weeks ago, and all I've been given was just lettuce so far.
And what kind of a lizard is he?
Bearded dragon.
Is that all you have is bearded dragons? You got a bunch of them?
No, I used to have hundreds of them. I used to breed them. Now I'm down to just one pet, one bearded dragon, Sushi the adventure dragon.
Yeah.
And he likes bigfooting and camping. So I take him with me. He's going with us this weekend.
My oldest son, him and his wife have a zoo, and I know they had a bearded dragon. I'm not sure if they still have it because they turned their garage into their pet house. So they don't park in their 2-car detached garage. It's for all the animals and pets they have. So when I come and visit, I don't get to see, do they still have the dragon? If I don't ask, I don't know.
Robin has a menagerie too. She does animal rescue, so she ends up with all kinds of weird stuff. I was just talking to her earlier today, and she's like, okay, what's your problem, mister? He's mad because I didn't give him any lettuce yet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So caught a tortoise. He's over here headbutting me to remind me that I need to give him lettuce. Yeah, they're hilarious. She said she got him a few years ago, like 3-4 years ago, and he was about the size of a 50-cent piece. And now he's about, like over a foot across and weighs about 30 pounds. And they just keep getting bigger and bigger.
So you guys are leaving tomorrow on your expedition?
Yeah, Ashton's got to work half the day, and then as soon as he gets done, he's heading over. It takes him about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get over here.
How far is it?
We're just going to rendezvous up there.
How far is it from where you live?
For me, it's about a 35-minute drive.
Our Monte Cristo Mountain that just has a ton of Bigfoot sightings, kind of our bread and butter local spot. It's about a 35-minute drive to get there for us. It's nice to have those.
Nice. You guys should spend some more time there and get those locals more habituated to your presence, and you'll start getting better opportunities to get them on camera. Seriously, that's what we do. Just keep going. As soon as you find a place where they're at, keep going back over and over and over. Try and be there at least once a month. Every frickin' month that you can get there, and just go there and camp and hang out with them. Walk around. If you can find their structures, film their structures, tell them how amazing they are and how great they are with building them. which we found out is totally worth doing because several times we did that. We went back and looked at the video. They were in the background watching us, listening to what we were saying and stuff, moving and eyeing over their structures, how great they were. So, yeah, we've essentially won them over to realizing that, you know, we're not the bad guys. We're not there to hurt them. We're not going to try and trick them or anything. So now when it gets to be dark at camp, we don't have to go out and do any night recons. They show up and do night recon on us. You can hear them sneaking up on camp. They do it on purpose. They make enough noise so you know they're there. Like they're saying hello. They're polite or something. When I had William Lunsford camping up here, you know, where he's at down there in Falk, it's too dangerous to camp. You just can't do it. So this is like the second time he'd been camping in about 40 years. And we're sitting there in camp, and it's me and him and Mike. The other two guys had to leave early, and so last night we were going to be there, and it's kind of drizzling. So we're sitting under this little fold-up pavilion thing. And he's going, hey, are you guys hearing this? Well, right across from the campsite, next to the campsite, there's a road, and on the other side of the road, we could hear them in two different places making noise. And behind us, on the other side of the camp, there's a river, and right on the other side of the river, you could hear them in three different places making noise. So there's minimum 5 of them coming up on camp. He goes, are you guys hearing this? And I went, oh yeah, hold on. And I turned around and I go, hey guys, how you doing? And I just went back and talked to Mike. He gives me this look like, what the hell is that supposed to do? What was the point of doing that? And then after, you know, me and Mike just go back to talking about whatever, and about 2 minutes later he goes, all the noise stopped. And I went, well, yeah, we let them know we could hear them now, so they don't have to make noise anymore. Well, are they going to stay where they're at? No, they're sneaking up closer. Now that they've been polite and let us know that they're there, and we let them know we know they're there, it's okay, they're going to sneak up closer. And yeah, and sometimes if you're paying attention, you can see the moonlight glinting off their eyes and stuff like that because they get that close to camp. They're very polite though. They don't come into camp until after we're in the tents to mess around. They never steal any of our food or take anything. We have to leave it somewhere else in order for them to want to even think about it. Well, we take food out of camp.
Jenny and I's first few years of seriously Bigfooting, when we started like 12 years ago, it's always been a hobby of mine, a couple of weekends a year, but about a dozen years ago we got serious, and that's all we do. That's all we still do. But we spent the first few years up on Monte Cristo because it was so close to home, and we knew so many people that had Bigfoot sightings up there that we were constantly camping up there. And then several years goes by, we discovered Sasquatch Canyon. A Bigfoot report brought us into the area, and I investigated the area, and Hunters and Price in the 70s nicknamed it Sasquatch Canyon because all these hunters from that area kept seeing Bigfoot, kept seeing footprints, all kinds of stuff, and so we just kept tradition alive once we got in there. Our third time in there, man, we got bluff charged, found some giant footprints. Conservatively, we have found hundreds and hundreds of footprints, and there's been a couple of Bigfoot sightings, clear open daytime Bigfoot sightings by people that go back in there recreating and hunting and stuff that have been reported to us. So it's a great area. So once we discovered that area, we spent a lot of time there. That's kind of our bread and butter, and so is the Monte Cristo area. We keep game cameras year-round in both those areas. I don't know, that's also a hobby of mine. I like to travel around to other Bigfoot sighting locations, hot spots. I don't like the one-offs. I like a history of them. That way I know it's a good area.
1/2 mile, arrive at Providence Canyon
well,
Road.
both of my hots, let's see, I got 3 actually. All 3 of my hot spots, I didn't hear of even one report coming from them. I just looked at a map and went, I bet they're here. I went up there and looked. In one of the 3 cases, one of my friends from Idaho had been driving through the valley and went, dude, there's a giant X structure up here. And I'm like, what? And he sends me pictures, and I'm like, holy crap, that looks like a giant X structure. He's like, I'm serious. I went across the river and checked it. Both those trees were moved into place. That was manufactured. And I'm like, oh my God. So you get the location from him. No, he's way over in Idaho here very often. But then we could go up there, and we backtrailed from where he had found that further up into the mountains, or where they were hanging around. And that's like our prime hotspot right now, where you find all the giant structures at, because apparently they've been up there for hundreds of years, their area. and they ain't moving. If you want to come in and be uppity about it, bad things are going to happen to you. The ones at the ghost town, they seem to like scaring humans. That's why they hang around there. Because they already know it's got the reputation. Humans are scared of it, so they can take advantage of that, scare humans, make them poop their pants and run away. And it's funny, apparently.
Well, something I really enjoy doing is going out, finding a spot that it happened, and then spreading out from there, or finding another sighting 10, 20 miles from there, and trying to travel different off-road routes in between the areas and exploring. Sometimes we'll find some amazing places in between sighting locations.
Yep. Now, Robin helped me with the one at the ghost town of Coloma, because we've been going up there for years and years and years. There's activity up there. You know, you can always find something going on. And I have a bunch of different people on my team that have had sightings up there. Practically everybody on my team has had a sighting up there, including Ashton, who filmed one 35 feet away and didn't realize it was there. And now he's all mad at himself because, like, his goal is to see a Bigfoot. And I went, well, I already filmed one. He goes, that doesn't count. I didn't see it while I was filming it. I'm like, okay. That was the one that you liked best out of last year when you were up there. He was just doing that 360 pan around camp. And there was that one standing at the edge of the wood line looking. He didn't even notice it. Figure out where the hell they were hanging out, because it's a ghost town. There's no water supply up there. There's not much in the way of food except in the very late fall when the berries ripen, right before winter. There isn't much of anything to eat, so why is there activity up there? Well, then I finally got Robin to contact him, and I found out it's because there's one group that lives near that mountaintop, and they like scaring humans. So they go up there and check after dark if there's anybody camped up there. Then they, scare them and chase them out because, that's funny. And that's the fearsome reputation of the ghost town, so all the locals are terrified of it. Won't go there even within a half an hour of dark, much less camp there. It's always some tourists that go, oh, deserted ghost town, I camp here, and then they get chased away. Well, when I was talking to Robin, I said, well, where the heck are these guys then? She goes, well, I'm getting that they're further down the mountain from there. And we had been every direction around this ghost town for several miles, except one way. And I went, okay, it's got to be down there. So I had this Cherokee woman, Shayna, I think she's Cherokee, oops. But she was up there, she was just visiting Montana. She had one day to go run around look for Bigfoot, so she got a hold of me and we went up there and we found a bunch of stuff right away. And sure enough, Robin was right. They're just further down the hill, further down the side of the mountain. You got to figure out which direction further down the side of the mountain. And, when this thing is like borderline cliff, you don't want to be walking up and down this damn thing trying to figure out where they're at.
Right.
So it helped a lot to have her go, I think they're down this way. And then when I got Shayna there, she was same thing. She goes, I think they're over this way. And she's not as psychic as Robin, but she's psychic too. So sure enough, we went and checked right away. We found those 18-inch tracks coming down the mountainside. Went, yep, they're over here. Well, that was the same place me and Johnny just went to and found tracks in the same place again. Where they must use it for a regular path up and down the mountain all the time. So, yeah, now we need to go further down the mountain to figure out where exactly they're hanging around. And when you start seeing lots of structures, we'll know that's where they're hanging around. Because that's one thing the top of the mountain is missing. You can get them on video and you can find tracks and stuff, but you never see any structures, so you know they're not hanging around there.
I'm in the sighting report area right now, just in four-wheel drive on a dirt road, scoping the surroundings. I'm looking for an interesting place to stop and start glassing ridge lines, cliff tops. This is a cool area. I've never been in this area. It's amazing how, like, within an hour's drive of where I live, and I've never been here, but a Bigfoot sighting got me here.
Ashton and Austin, last year we were up at the megaliths for the second time, and we were already up there, and Austin was trying to find us, and it was after dark. And he's driving around the roads and stuff, and he keeps calling Ashton when he gets a signal. Where are you guys at again? Oh, we're toward this part of the road. Oh, okay, I don't think I'm far enough. And finally he comes pulling up there, and he's like, dude, I just saw one. Ashton's like, what? Yeah, one just ran across the road a little ways back here. So, of course, Ashton jumps in the truck, and they start filming and take off, go look for the Bigfoot. So, when all is said and done, he brings the video back that they were filming inside the cab, and I'm watching the video, and they've got, all of their GPS units and everything on. They're looking at their little dashboard comm that's got the map on it and everything, and he's going, okay, what's the name of the road we're on right now? Bigfoot Road. And he's like, are you serious? Yeah, look at the map. He's like, you are serious. And then they came to this fence, and it's open, but there's a fence there, and he stops. Montana, you don't drive on somebody's potential land, they'll just shoot you. So they're checking to see if it's private property or not. They're trying to figure that out. And he's going, there's a creek right here. We should be able to figure out where this is at. Is there a creek on the map? And he's looking at it. He's like, yeah, right here. What's it called? Bigfoot Creek. You hear Ashton go, I'm seeing a trend here. They're on Bigfoot Road where it crosses Bigfoot Creek, and they're looking for a Bigfoot. And we still haven't quite figured out why they named those areas that. And there was a Bigfoot mine up there too, but it was only there for like 2 years, and then they abandoned it again. But yeah, that was hilarious. They're out running around in the dark looking for a Bigfoot. What's the name of this road we're on? Bigfoot Road. What? Look at the map. Oh my God, it is. At the junction of Bigfoot Road and Bigfoot Creek, looking for Bigfoot.
Around Mount St. Helens and Mount Hood, it's amazing how many roads are called like Skookum Road, just all the different spin-off names for Bigfoot, and it's like, I wonder how this road got its name, you know?
Cabin Attack Alley. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I haven't been out to that area. I was watching a show the other day where somebody had actually gone out and kind of reconned the area. They found a side road that they think might go closer up to where the old cabin was, but they had unfortunately not left themselves enough time to go check it on that trip. So now they got to wait until like next year when they get there again. Oh well. We got to do the recon at some point. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow and Friday. Lots of recon.
That's actually some of my favorite Bigfooting in recon. I like the exploration of the areas before you decide where you should concentrate for a little while, because that's when it gets rough. And I love scouting.
Yeah, the other thing we found when we were up there, and this is like very disturbing. When we walked up to where the standing stones were, we found a track up there, and neither one of us had a tape measure, so we had to walk back down to the vehicle and get a tape measure. And on the way back down, on the way back up again, I noticed these other indentations on the side of the road bed and went, well, check those on the way down again. And took a look at them, and the one looks just like the one that's on the outro of every video that I put out. And Mike got a picture of that one peculiar giant track about 1.5 miles away from there. He's got his foot next to for scale. Judging from the length of his foot with his shoe on and the length of the track is about 22 inches.
Right.
So I'm seeing this indentation in the ground that looks just like that track. So I walk over and drop a tape measure on it. Guess what? 22 inches long. This track, he got about 1.5 miles away from there about 3 years ago. So probably the same individual. Well, that's scary enough because it's a four-toed track, 22 inches long. Okay, great. Not good news. But then there's this other bigger indentation about 7 feet away from it that I'm looking at. And I'm trying to explain it away, going, no, that's a tire run. It's got to be a tire run. Somebody was up here with a really heavy vehicle, really wide tires, and they spun out when they were turning around, and that's what made that. Except there's no tire track leading away from it. And if it spun out and dug a hole in the ground, then how come there's no gravel behind it that it dug out when it spun and dug a hole in the ground? And why is the back of the quote-unquote tire track not straight across but rounded like a heel? And then I start looking at the other end of it, and it had rained really heavily the night before, unfortunately. But you could still see what looked like it had toes. And I was like, oh my God, this can't be a track. It's too gigantic. And it's in a road bed that's made of crushed gravel that's been there 140 years. With people driving over it for 140 years. You know how hard that is? It's like concrete. How much do you have to weigh to make an impression on that? And it was like 2 to 3 inches deep. It just squashed the road bed. Well, I dropped a tape measure on it, and I had Johnny film it, so there wasn't any ground. Well, if it is a track, which unfortunately I'm having to lean heavily toward at this point, because I've showed it to a few other people, and they also tried to explain it away and went, no, I think that's a track. 30 inches.
Ooh.
Are you there? I lost you.
Oh, I'm in a small canyon. Can you hear me? Hello?
I think you're probably too canyony right now. We're losing signal.
You're losing it? Yeah, I am in a small canyon. I was just glassing a cave.
Seems like I pretty much lost your signal. If you can hear me, I'm going to hang up. I got to put a charge on my phone. Would you give me a call back if you want to?
I would like to thank Duke from World Bigfoot TV for joining me on a phone conversation while I drive in to investigate a recent Bigfoot sighting near Providence and Logan Peak in the Wasatch Mountains of Utah. Hope you enjoyed a look at a Bigfoot sighting hotspot. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.